Welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make a seafood dish, and we're going to make seafood, namely crab meat enchiladas with a white sauce on them. So let's get going. First thing we want to do is we want to get our ingredients out. We're going to need 16 ounces of sour cream. By the way, I'm using the light sour cream. A half to 2/3 cup of yogurt, and I'm just using the plain yogurt. You know, you don't want it flavored, and if there's a low fat or whatever, you can probably use that too. All right, we've got 1/4 cup of sugar. We've got a couple of teaspoons of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of cumin, probably a half teaspoon of salt, 4 ounces of diced green chilies. Now I don't know if I'm going to use all of those or not. I'm not a huge fan of real, green chili types. I'm more of a red chili, but we'll put those in, see how they are. We'll give it a taste and go from there. And I need a cup of milk. Now for the finishing of our enchiladas, I took and cut up 3 green onions, probably, since they're kind of packed down in there, it's probably 1.5 cups or so of white cheddar cheese, probably a 1/3 cup pressed of cilantro. I've got 16 ounces of crab meat here that I've picked over, and probably a little citrus that we can put on the top. Also a little red smoked paprika that we can also sprinkle on the top after we go ahead and we serve them. So let's get going. Let's first take the sour cream, and the yogurt, and mix them together. Let me go ahead and use the whisk. It's a lot easier. All right, I'm going to put in my flour, and what this is going to do is it's going to help to thicken it a little bit once we put it in the oven. All right, let me put in my half teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground cumin, and a couple teaspoons of smoked paprika. All right, now let's put in, and I have probably 1.25 cups in here, and I poured just a little bit extra in there in case it's a little too thick. So I'm going to leave 1/4 cup in there just in case I need it. And I'm going to put in probably 2 ounces of this. This is a 4-ounce can, drained. All right, give it a try. We could actually put the other half in there. Okay. Let me give it one last taste here. Much better. Now, let me go get another bowl. What we're going to do now is we're going to divide it in half. And one half we're going to take and we're going to put some cheese, our crab, and our onion in, and that is what we're going to stuff the enchiladas with. The other half we're going to pour over the top once we get it in the baking dish. So let me go grab another dish here. I'll be right back. Okay, here we have our second dish. I'm not sure how even half that is, but let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put our crab meat in. All right, our onions, and part of our cheese. Now I don't want to put too much cheese in here because I want to take and put the bulk of it over the top. But I just thought, well, you know, a little cheese in there, and this is just white cheddar. A little cheese in there will give it a nice taste. All right. It's very good. You can taste the crab, you can taste the cheese, but it's a little flabby. So let's just go ahead and put a little extra salt and pepper. You know, the thing is, these aren't real spicy because the only thing that really has any pepper in there are the green chilies, and that doesn't have much. So what you might want to do is you might want to just take some red cayenne pepper flakes and put that in there too. Made all the difference in the world. So what I am going to do is I am going to put in a few, and I don't mean a lot, I just mean a few little red pepper flakes. So much better. Now, let me clean up my mess here. I've got my tortillas in the oven at about 200 degrees. What I'm doing is just warming them, so they're more flexible. And let me go ahead and get cleaned up here, and we're going to go ahead and assemble them, then we'll go ahead and bake them. So, don't go far. I'll be right back. Okay, I just took the tortillas out of the oven. They're nice and warm. And so what I'm going to do now is just put some of the filling in here. We want to wrap it and then put it seam side down. That's my oven. I'm preheating it to 350 degrees. There. It looks like we're going to get 8 out of this. So, let me go ahead and set these tortillas over here, the last couple. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our sauce on. And now we'll go ahead and just kind of spread it out. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and let's take our cheese. Now I want to put a little cilantro on the top. Okay, there. Now, we're done with this. Let me put it in the oven, and we're going to bake it for about 35 to 45 minutes, somewhere around in there. So let me just put it in the oven. Okay, I'll be back in about 35 minutes. We'll see you then. Okay, it's been 40 minutes, and it's very well baked. I'm going to put this under the detail camera here, so you can get a better look at it. And as you see, the cheese is nicely melted. It's browned a little around the edges in there, and everything looks fine. Smells real good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool down for just a couple of minutes. And as soon as it cools down, then it's time to plate and we're going to try it. So once again, I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and I took the first one out. The first one's always the worst one to get out. I went ahead and I took it out before I turn the camera back on, and that's just, sometimes I'm not exactly the most graceful, getting that out, so I didn't want to drop it on camera. But anyway, here we are. We go ahead and accompany it with a little refried beans with some Monterey Jack and some Spanish rice on this. And let me put this under the detail camera so you can see it a little better. Now, last thing we have to do is garnish it a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some cilantro sprigs on it. We could put a little more smoked paprika gently on the top. That doesn't really give it a whole different flavor, but it does add a little color. We could put a lime down there such. Or if you really want to go a little bit crazy, take something like a dragon fruit half and go ahead and put that on there. All right? There's lots of different things you can put on these to garnish them, depending on who your guests are and what how how brave they are. By the way, dragon fruit is extremely good. It's sweet. I actually made jelly out of it one time. So, it's certainly edible. You can put on there. But more than likely, what I do is I'd probably just settle for the lime. The lime and the cilantro. And you can serve it just like this. So, anyway, last thing we have to do delicious. You could taste the crab in there. You could taste a little bit of those green chilies, but in the background, you can taste the cheese. It's absolutely delicious. Go ahead and give this one a try. Here's another one that I go ahead and recommend. It's a good one you can fix, well, pretty much any time, but especially during Lent. when you're looking for seafood recipes, here's a good one. So, once again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch my videos. Take care. God bless. Leave me a comment when you try it or however you like it, or send me an email at chefrdmiller@att.net. Be sure to give a thumbs up, and even better, subscribe. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss any of this craziness, do you? Until then, take care. God bless. Remember that cooking should always be fun. And to me, it is. Don't ever worry about making a mistake, because other than burning it and have to start over again, there really isn't many mistakes you can make. So, give it a try. Until then, I'll see you next episode. Bye for now.